All right, well, we just finished going over the test in here, and I've got two students who look sleepy, and in general, brains are a little bit tired, but they indicated their brains could handle more. I'm going to take this opportunity on day after test to take a break from new material and go back and let's review some things we're going to see in a couple of weeks on your exam. Page 151, notice this says quarter review. For us, it's a semester review, so we've taken what Becca does in one quarter. We just sort of spread it out. Can you imagine doing everything we've done in one quarter? And Michael's like, yeah, I can. That's what he tried to do last year. So there's a reason why I stretched this out and made this a full semester, so you'd actually learn and actually retain and actually understand. So I feel like that's more beneficial to you than just cramming it into a board and saying good luck, kiddies. So hopefully you have benefited from it. I do take cash payments or gift cards in my stocking over there as a thank you and appreciation for slowing the pace for you. For now, I want you to review over some Chapter 1 concepts, some stuff we haven't seen since the first few weeks of the year. I want you to numbers 1 through 16, there on page 151, the quarter review. If you come to something and you are clueless, you say, I do not remember this, which I don't think should happen, skip it and move on and get as much done as you can and then come back to those things. But take a few moments to work on 1 through 16 at the bottom of page 151. And again, just kind of refreshing our memory on some of these older concepts now so we don't have to cram it all in right before the exam happens. I think that'll help you better on your retention for the exam. Also do PayPal. I assume you would say, Michael, that this makes a lot more sense this year than it did last year?
Definitely.
So slowing the pace is worth it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are, by the way, there's going to be about 2 or 3 chapters we're going to completely skip, and there's sections of other chapters we're going to completely skip. Those are things we'll cover later on in high school. But again, I'd rather cover them later as opposed to this year if you actually understand algebra. To me, understanding is more important than how much you cover. As long as, it's not embarrassingly little. But I don't think, have you felt insulted like I'm barely teaching anything? You haven't felt insulted? What about you, Audrey? I know you're easily insulted. We like to insult. I'm just kidding. Now, when I first got this book, I remember looking at it like, how am I supposed to cover all that in one lesson? They're not going to get any practice. And I watched the video lessons because I was curious how the Abeka teacher did. Sure enough, they did practice in class. Like, that's how you teach math. They have to practice in class. What is this? And every lesson, you know this, right? Every lesson had like a 20-minute appendix lesson, like extra practice. I'm like, no, that's part of class. That's not extra if you need it. That's part of class. Like, maybe straight A students, maybe could go through all the, no, anyway, so, yeah. So I'm publicly voicing my displeasure about that. You've heard it here. But I do like your textbook. I just don't like the pace you go through the book. And they can't even dislike this video because YouTube has disabled dislike counts. Have you noticed that? Those of you who've been on YouTube, that if you click dislike, it doesn't record the count? Yeah, 2 weeks ago, YouTube started doing that. And I'm like, what is this? We live in a generation where people can't take criticism. Of course, we also live in a generation, to be fair, where people are careless with criticism and needlessly dish it out on, YouTube creators who is doing the best. I mean, I haven't gotten any dislikes. But I also don't have very many likes, but I think it was Gavin gave me a like the other day, though, so thank you, Gavin. I don't know what you liked about my 2-minute introduction to my test, but I do appreciate the like.
It was a short lesson.
It was a short lesson. That's why there was a like. Oh, it's Michael. Michael went through a short lesson. Got to give it a like. Sort of a YouTube algorithm to automatically like any video under 50 minutes. You didn't go long this time.
We're going to 16, right?
No, 17.
To the end of the page.
I don't see a 17 on this page.
Genesis was lying to you, don't believe her.
Oh, okay.
So either you're feeling like, oh good, I remember all this, exam's not that scary, or you're like, oh no, in which case be very afraid. Exams are coming. Like Paul Revere ride through the night. Exams are coming. But I'm too late to get out of bed at night. I don't ride horses, so. I shouldn't say that, I rode on a horse once. I'm not the night. Car drives through window. Glad Michael's the one closest. Yeah.
Glad Michael.
Okay. Someone broke their pencil there.
Grace Christian School, first traditional class, then video classes, now drive-through classes. What's Michael doing in the drive-thru now?
Ordering food.
Food.
just another minute or so to get as far as you can, and then we'll take a look at these answers together. Go and put your pencils down, even if you're not finished with all of these. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and pause it until you're finished with all of them. Those in the classroom don't have that luxury. Number one, they wanted you to rewrite using the associative property. And just by way of reminder, associative means we don't change the order of what is written, but we do change the grouping. So instead of grouping x and y, that means maybe we group the 6 and the x. And so this is what we should have had there. Had it said to change the commutative property, we could have switched the x plus y's quantity and the 6, or we could have even switched within the parentheses y plus x. That would have been the commutative property. This is what they were going for the associative property. Number two, the distributive property. Just distribute x, y, positive dx. Questions on 1 and 2, working with those properties of algebra. Been a little while since we talked about them. Any questions? Number two, we're supposed to write out x more than the quantity 2 less than x squared. And that's what we should have had here, x minus 2 squared plus x. And then it said, well, if x is 9, what do we get? Well, 9 minus 2 is 7. 7 squared is 49. Plus 9 is 58. So two answers. First, this representation, then that answer. On number 4, it said a fraction with the numerator as the difference of x and 4 and a denominator of 6 less than x. So this is what they were going for, x minus 4 over x minus 6. They said, well, what if x is 8? Well, 8 minus 4 is 4, 8 minus 6 is 2, 4 over 2 is 2. So there's our representation and our answer. How many got both 3 and 4 correct? Any questions on those? Number 5, we're subtracting or adding the inverse. So I've got an x squared, a 12x, and a 5. But we're going to add the inverse, so it becomes a negative 5x squared. It becomes a positive 9x and a positive 18. Do you have to stack them? Not if you're working them in your textbook, but since I had to write them on the board anyway, I might as well. And with a negative 4x squared, positive 21x, positive 23. On number 6, we needed to distribute first. Distribute to get a negative 24x squared, positive 18x, negative 6. Distribute to get a positive 15x squared, negative 20x, positive 80, and then combine to get a negative 9x squared, negative 2x, positive 74. How many got those answers on 5 and 6? All right, questions? All right, number 7, ask you to multiply. You're going to have to double distribute here. It's been a little while since we've done double distribution, but basically you distribute a negative x squared all the way through. Then you're going to shift over a couple spots and distribute the positive 3 all the way through and then add together. So negative x to the 4th, positive 4x cubed, negative 9x squared when you distribute the x squared. Double shift, distribute to get a positive 3x squared, negative 12x, positive 27. Then when you add, get negative x to the 4th, positive 4x cubed, negative 6x squared, negative 12x, positive 27. It's been a long time since we've had to do this. How many remembered it and got it? Any questions on it? And then for number 8 class, we're going to have to triple distribute because there's 3 terms. And even if you try to flip-flop them, it's 3 terms anyway. So you're triple distributing. And see, x to the 4th, 10x cubed, negative 9x squared, negative 6x cubed, negative 60x squared, positive 54x. shift again, and it's just x squared positive 10x negative 9. That's a 9, it just doesn't look like a 9. And then with an x to the 4th, positive 4x cubed. Is that a 9 or a 7? That was a 9 again. Let's see, negative 68x squared, positive 64x negative 9. How many had that answer on number 8? Questions on 8. All right, number 9, dividing. And since it is a variable, plus or minus a number, I could use synthetic division. How many saw that? Did anyone use long division with the division house and you divide first by the first, multiply, add the inverse, bring down? Bless your heart. So I'm going to put the negative 3 in the half box with the 6 plus 21 minus 6 minus 35 plus 30. Now to be fair, that's what the book I think probably anticipated, but synthetic division sure is easier. Bring down the 6, let's see this, negative 18, positive 3, negative 9, negative 15, positive 45, positive 10, negative 30, and 0. Was it x's? It was, so x cubed. X cubed, x squared, x to the first x squared. How many had? 6x cubed, positive 3x squared, negative 15x, positive 10. Got it the long way still. Good. Questions on number 9? Number 10 is going to be more of the same, right? Synthetic division, negative 4 in the half box. What did you get for your answer, Abby?
7x to the 4th, positive 10x cubed, negative 6x squared, positive 9x, negative 21.
Great job. How many had that same answer? Again, for YouTube people who could not hear that, 7x to the 4th, positive 10x cubed, negative 6x squared, positive 9x, negative 21 should have been our answer. Number 11, we're factoring. Of course, the first thing we always check for when we factor, class? Common factor. I see a 7. Wow, and I see 13 x's. All right, so we pull out a 7x to the 13th. I'm left with a 2y to the 5th. I'm left with a 4x to the 14th, y to the 8th, and I'm left with an x to the 11th. How many had that rather ugly answer for number 11? Number 12, looks like I got a 9 that's common, leaves us with a 4x squared, negative 12x, positive 9. And this is nothing special, right? This doesn't even look like it would factor more. But this clearly does, class. This is a perfect square trinomial. So we can factor that class into a binomial squared, we end up with a 2x minus 3 squared. Or, if you backwards FOILed out of habit, 2x minus 3 or 2x minus 3 would work as well. You could, technically, have factored straight into the binomial squared, but you see there's still a common factor. What's common, class? A 3 squared. When you pull it out, it's going to look like a 9, but it's going to look like a 3 was pulled out. Same answer either way. Okay, so a couple ways to approach number 12. Number 13, again, there's a 9 that's common. Leaves us with an x to the 4th, negative 16y squared, and leaves us with an x squared plus 4y, x squared minus 4y. From our sum and difference, from the difference of squares. How many had this answer on number 13? Real quick, stay with me. Number 14, we got an x to the 5th plus, and then the 1024, stay with me, I'll get you out of here. 1024 has got to be something to the 5th power. Use your calculator, and it is 4 to the 5th power. So I can factor this sum of same odd powers into a binomial times a polynomial. The x plus 4 goes in here. Then we're going to start with x to the 4th, x cubed, x squared, x to the 1st, x gone, 4 gone, 4 to the 1st, 4 squared, 4 cubed, 4 to the 4th, signs alternate. Positive, understood, negative, positive, negative, positive. Did anyone get this for number 14? Wow, several of you. That's probably the easiest thing of all the stuff on this page to forget. Questions? Real quick, number 15, just backwards FOIL, 5x minus 2y, 6x plus 7y. And the number 16 is grouping. You're going to pull out a 3x squared, x minus 4, negative 7, x minus 4. That means that x minus 4 is common with a 3x squared, negative 7. So again, the answer, x negative 4 times 3x squared, negative 7. Homework for this evening. I just need you to read some pages. So that way when we talk about new stuff tomorrow, you're ready. I don't like to teach the lesson until you've read it over first. Your homework reading is pages 139 to 143. Pages 139 to 143. And tomorrow, we'll get back into some new material. Hopefully this review was helpful for you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and you are dismissed.